A few weeks back, word reached me of an old factory on the brink of collapse. Bootkin's factory was running out of funds, a slow but inevitable march towards bankruptcy. A lack of sponsorships and dwindling income had forced them to lay off some 800 workers in a last-ditch attempt to stave off the inevitable. Rumor had it that a full shutdown was on the horizon. I paid the factory a visit, hoping my previous experience with non-traditional business ventures might inspire a revival. I'd spent years nurturing sponsorships for unconventional enterprises we had done, such as our manual toilet paper store, our Works Academy, and other absurd sincere non-profits. I had suggested a new strategy to the Bootkin's manager: create something both useful and absurdly charming to the public's eye. After all, people had grown wary of investing in the ordinary. And so, we settled on a concept that was both practical and delightfully outlandish: the emergency toothpick. An edible toothpick, cleverly concealed within ordinary everyday items. Our vision was to collaborate with local food and convenience stores, striking a deal to discreetly include our emergency toothpicks in select products. Each item would come with a small but intriguing message on the label. P.S. There's an emergency toothpick inside the package. Our pitch to potential partners was equally compelling. If sales of our emergency toothpicks soared, we promised to cover future sponsorships, allowing us to work in delightful tandems with these businesses. With our plan ready to launch, we dared to hope it might capture the attention of nearby sponsors and perhaps breathe new life into Bootkin's factory. In a matter of 5 days, word began to spread of the factory producing silly enterprises for silly enthusiasts. Around 1,000 nearby adopters flocked to purchase our emergency toothpick, with some hailing it as the product of the new generation. Reports poured in, each more surprising than the last. Take for instance, Mr. Rob Baltimore, who managed to cancel a dreadful dentist appointment simply because he'd been fortunate enough to find an emergency toothpick nested within his morning cornflakes. Or the case of Harold Dickens, who averted social disaster by rescuing himself from a rogue piece of chicken wielded in his teeth, right in the midst of a first date. Countless toothpick emergencies were averted, and with them, Bootkin's factory roared back to life. Employees returned, jobs were saved, and to our delight, the improbable success of emergency toothpick had established us as a pioneer in the realm of spontaneous dental rescue. Join us for more after the break.
Meet the gang, cause the boys are here, the boys to entertain you, with music and laughter to help you on your way, to raising the rafters with a hey, 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 with songs and sketches and jokes old and new, with us about, you won't feel blue. So meet the gang, cause the boys are here, the boys to entertain you. B-O-B-O-Y-S, boys to entertain you.
Good evening and welcome to the 7th official episode of the Micheal Salinger Show, where we dive into the most peculiar and pressing cases that haunt our citizens today. I am your host, Ronnie Brown. Tonight we stumbled upon a case that, to quote one baffled spectator, tickled the fly out of me. So sit down and join us as we delve into tonight's episode. The town of Adal Ada, a quiet community known for its quiet civility, has been thrown into an unusual state of turmoil. At the heart of its unrest, a neighborhood bench reserved exclusively for the elderly has become the focal point of a rivalry. 3 local men, each in the twilight of age, have engaged in an all-out battle for the honor of sitting on this prized bench. The humble seat has somehow brought division amongst the town's seniors, creating a dispute that has captivated the entire community. The old but gold enterprise began as a simple act of kindness. A generous neighbor, noticing that the local pensioners preferred to rest by the park, even if it meant sitting on the grass, decided to rally up the neighborhood to fund a proper bench. This bench, specifically reserved for senior citizens, soon became an unexpected landmark. At precisely 1308, on the day of its unveiling, Mr. Poseidon's Ohio, a man with a remarkable sense of personal dignity, was the first to claim the seat. Sitting there, he basked in a peculiar sense of superiority, proud to be the first old man to discover it. But as the clock struck 14:15, his moment was cut short by the arrival of Dave's son Quella. Dave, a springful fellow with a talent for practicing dance moves in the park, needed a moment to cool off his legs. And there it was, the bench. Unbeknownst to Dave, another would soon follow. At 15:20, just as Dave headed home, Franklin Doop arrived. Franklin, a serious pensioner who never cracked even a smile unless confronted with toilet humor, of course. Found himself settling in. He sat there well into the evening, feeling a quiet satisfaction in claiming the seat as his own. For months this unspoken rotation continued. Each man arrived, unknowingly adopting a first-to-find mentality, basking in the moment of solitary triumph. But once word got out that the bench was being shared, everything changed. On one fateful day, Dave's son Quella arrived to find Mr. Poseidon's Ohio seated proudly, his chin lifted in triumph, and in that moment, Dave realized he'd have to fight for his right to the bench.
I'm working this side of the park, Buster.
How dare you? Now I know that you are not talking to me like that. I'm a respected citizen of this town, and you ought to watch it, you do.
Oh, get stuffed. Get what? I'm a resident of this town, and I believe that...
Oh, shut up, old man. Now we better decide who gets this bench fair and square, otherwise I won't hesitate to sue you, I will.
Do your voice.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is where I come in. After stumbling across these three men, I made an offer to them. By joining us on the Micheal Salinger show, they can settle on a fair deal on who should have the bench. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Poseidon's Ohio, along with Dave's son Quella and Franklin Doop. Mr. Ohio, I believe we've done this before. Why is it that you've decided to stake your reputation by coming here again?
Well, now, that's a good question, Rory. This does bring a sense of nostalgia. But I'm not here to relive my past. I'm just here to simply take what is mine and leave.
Of course, Mr. Ohio. By the way, how's the family? Your wife all right?
Yes, sir. Fine.
And what about your son?
Well, yes.
It says here that the seat was reserved for the elderly, meaning that everyone above the age of 60 can use it.
Well, that's nonsense. I found that bench first, so as an elderly person, I believe it's mine.
Bullcrap! I've danced and sat next to it, I have. Everybody knows that Dave's son Quella was the first to sit there.
Danced and sat next to it. I wouldn't be surprised if he next to it.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least I have a life unlike some old poster I know. Can I have a word, please? Can I have a word, please?
Not now, Mr. Doop. I do have a question for Dave's son Quella, though. Our reports state here that you've been using that bench longer than everyone else. From Mondays after work until Fridays after partying with the boys. Don't you feel that, maybe others could feel the comfort of the bench too?
Ah, yes. Why don't we blame poor old Dave's son Quella? Why don't we talk about the fact that both these folks are rich enough to purchase their own bench? Why, Dave's son Quella only works for showbiz. What did you say? I didn't hear you, man. He was talking to me.
Well, that's besides the point. Mr. Doop.
What?
Mister?
Yes?
Do you think that it's fair that you have the seat? I mean, these two folks are far more popular than you are.
Well, they are,
And going back to you, Mr. Ohio, don't you think that acting this way could only lead to more problems? I say burn the bench.
Oh, don't be silly now. I mean, we only just got the bench, didn't we? I suggest that we get a word from the man who donated the bench.
Well, you know, that wouldn't be too bad, would it? Sanquella? Mr. Dupe?
But what I wanted to say was...
Oh, here he goes again.
I'm an old army veteran of this town, and that bench, you see, it has coding which was referenced back in my days. It was a coding in the war our enemies will use against us. During the sock epidemic, we killed dozens of my comrades in the war. In other words, a bombing plan. 538 it was. Whenever they yelled that number, a big explosion would occur. Oh, now he tells us.
Well, you can have the seat, Sanquella.
On second thought, I'm not a fan of box.
I wonder who is behind all of this.
Yes, I wonder.
Hey guys, JestSam Enthusiast here. I just wanted to quickly tell y'all my story if you could just spare a minute of your time. I'm a long-time Bona Garage Studios campaigner, and over the years, there's been lots of ups and downs in the business, but I must say, this movement has been nothing short of a blessing. Subscribing to JestSam has changed the way I view the world, teaching me countless unwavering lessons in life. And to be honest, this could be you too. So I highly recommend you to subscribe today, and you'll have no regrets. JestSam Enthusiast out.
You done goofed up, pal, you done goofed up. You done goofed up, pal, you done goofed up.
It started in the kitchen. I was feeling like a chef, rolling up torpedoes, flexing culinary flags. Sauce in the pan, cheese looking fly, but I slipped on a bean, sent the tray to the sky. Crash, boom, bang like a food fight explosion. Enchilada airborne, it was pure commotion. I watched in slow motion, my heart was frozen. Oh no! They landed on some shoes, what a massive show.
You done goofed up, pal, you done goofed up. You done goofed up, pal, you done goofed up.
The owner of the shoes gave me a death glare, like, yo, what the deal, do you even care?
Do you even
I stammered, I started,
It's culinary mishap.
but they weren't amused by my enchilada rap. So I grabbed a napkin, tried to make it right, but the cheese was sticky, yeah, it put up a fight. I slipped again, hit the floor with a thud. Now my pride is racked as their shoes full of crud.
You done goofed up, pal, you done goofed up. You done goofed up, pal, you done goofed up.
Now I'm banned from the kitchen as a chef in disgrace. Shoes crying sauce, tears, cheese over the place. But I learned my lesson, yeah, I'll cook with care.
And keep your enchiladas in the tray where they belong.
I swear.
Now that there was You Done Goofed Up by Flick Van Yor and Young Goof. We would now like to recite a poem by Sir Jeremy Rattle. I went into the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to affront only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, and not when I had died, discovered that I had not lived.
Kiss me goodnight, Sergeant Major. Tuck me in my little wooden bed. We all love you, Sergeant Major. When we hear you calling a show a leg, don't forget to wake me in the morning and bring me in a nice hot cup of tea.